Imagine waking up one day and finding out you are so rich you don't have to go to work, pay your mortgage, or worry about your credit card debt. To those in the lower or middle class, acquiring a large amount of money is life-changing. Winning the lottery is a pipe dream that millions of people have. In fact, so many people dream of it that citizens in 2016 of the United States of America spent $73.5 billion on regular lottery tickets. The UK followed behind with almost 7 billion euros.
How much they spend in CSGO cases?
Bucks to receiving checks for millions. You would think a life changer like that would be for the better. However, according to lottery winners who cashed out millions, they wish they had never won the lottery. This leads us to the question, who are some of the biggest lottery winners and where are they now?
Interesting.
In 2012, a lottery winner in Chicago, USA named Rouge Khan won $1 million from a scratch-off ticket. This lucky winner decided to cash out his prize for a lump sum of $600,000. All he had to do was wait to receive his full amount and then live.
The right thing to do is not do that, right, chat? I just want to make sure that I've learned in finance class that the right thing to do is to get it accumulated over time, right? And to not just take the lump sum. Wait, some of you are saying wrong, and then some of you are saying you wait to take it all. Inflation is an issue, and that's what I saw. I said if you wait, inflation is going to occur, which is about, if I'm correct, 1.7% per year on average. 2% is really bad. So with inflation, and also you can't take that money in investment, it's better to take the lump sum.
Happily ever after. Instead, a few days before he was due to receive the money, Rouge Khan died unexpectedly. It came as a shock to family, friends, and news outlets. It was initially stated that the lottery winner died of natural causes. However, concerned family members requested an extensive autopsy that showed Rouge Khan was actually poisoned with cyanide. Upon this discovery, police opened an investigation to find out who exactly poisoned him. Unfortunately, there was a family dinner the night before he died, and during police questioning, no one admitted to their crimes.
Holy
Due to this,
shit.
the police were unable to find and convict a killer for the death of Rouge Khan. Since his death, the family wasted no time before battling against each other in courts for the custody of his daughter,
shitty game
the
of
laundromats
Salem.
that he owned, and of course his lottery money. While the daughter received 1/3 of the lottery winnings and some condominiums, the now widow received 2/3 of the winnings, along with his laundromats valued at around $1 million. Perhaps lottery winners in the future can take a note that even when just $600,000 is on the line, those around you will show their true colors.
Will kill you though? I mean, come on, like $600,000, people are gonna kill you?
If you're not used to living with money, then you're also not used to managing large amounts of money. Canadian Sharon Tirabassi grew up poor and in shelters throughout her childhood. It came as no surprise that when she won 10 million Canadian dollars that she decided to splurge a little. At least Tirabassi didn't just spend all her money on herself. If anything, a large chunk of her money was divided between family and given to friends.
The fuck is Canadian money? Who gives a shit about that? What the fuck can you spend Canadian money on besides Overwatch skins? Someone just rang my doorbell. Hold on. Monka W for the next 2 seconds. Someone just rang my doorbell. This is big time.
She generously gave $1 million to her parents, and almost a total of another $2 million to her 4 siblings. It didn't stop there, however. Tirabassi would buy properties and let her friends live there with cheap rent, or give out loans to people who would soon disappear.
That's what I do.
It didn't take long for the lucky lottery winner to blow through her winnings. The only money that remains are trust funds for her 6 children that they will be able to receive when they are 26 years old. After 9 years of living lavishly, Tirabassi is back to using the bus and working a regular job. If she ever hits again, it might be a good idea to hire a financial advisor.
Do you hear something?
And as you would expect from a young adult who nicknames himself King of Chavs, Carroll began spending all his money on cocaine, gambling, and hookers. Now with his money gone for living like a rock star, Michael Carroll is back to his life as a bin man, and certainly does not regret the way he spent his money. However, not all of his money went toward his adventures. The generous winner gave away around 4 million euros to family and friends, but claims it was still not enough. Receiving letters where people would beg for money or those who would send him death threats were the least of his worries. When he lived in a mansion in his hometown, he found his 5 dogs with their throats cut, and ended up giving blackmailers 130,000 euros in order to keep his family safe. Now with nothing left and drug-related criminal charges, it's back to the normal life for Michael Carroll.
Holy fuck, dude.
$16.2 million received in 26 annual checks, around almost $500,000 each, doesn't sound like a bad way to set yourself up yearly. It's beneficial since less taxes are taken from lottery winners who agree to accept the money in payments, versus receiving one large lump sum of cash. Within 3 months of receiving his first payment, William Bud Post was already $500,000 in debt, buying restaurants, cars, and even a twin-engine plane. That much money could have been easily paid.
Am I going to sound dumb for saying this, but have I said this before? I would rather go and not do first class but do economy than get a private jet. Have I said that before? Yes? Oh, okay. Why? Because I think the idea of flying by yourself and like having private jets and stuff like that, it just sounds so bourgeois. When having a non-private, like, you want to be with the people. I don't want to like live a life secluded in like my own airplane, like live in a nice fancy house nowhere near anybody, and I've like in my own town. I'd rather live with people and live in a middle class society rather than live in a rich and bourgeois my way to victory. Does that make sense?
Off over the next couple of years of his annual payments, but the debt wasn't the worst thing he had to worry about. His brother had been convicted for trying to hire a killer to murder William Post and his sixth wife. Not only that, but Post was successfully sued by his landlady for 1/3 of his winnings after 3 years of being in the courts. According to his landlady, William Post was behind on his mortgages and agreed to split any of his winnings with her. If that isn't the cherry on top for this unlucky winner, he also had to deal with an assault charge after firing a weapon at someone trying to collect a debt from him. According to several interviews from various news outlets, William Bud Post claims he was much happier when he was broke and that he couldn't wait for his lottery winnings to be
Bunny,
gone.
what's up?
At the end of everything, he ended up spending all of his lottery winnings and managed a debt of $1 million. Post was living on $450 disability checks and ended up passing away at 66 in 2006, the same year that our next big winner began his journey as a lottery winner.
Abraham
A man who
Shakespeare.
spent $4 out of the $5 in his pocket on lottery tickets turned out to be pretty lucky when he hit the jackpot of almost $17 million. It didn't take long for Abraham Shakespeare to realize those who used to be his friends were attempting to use him to try to get money. The friend he was with when he originally purchased the tickets asked Shakespeare for $1 million, and when he was rejected, ended up suing Shakespeare. The jury saw through the false story that Abraham Shakespeare stole the winning lottery tickets out of his wallet. He eventually befriended a woman named Doris Moore, who claimed to protect the lucky winner from beggars and those trying to scam him. They then began Abraham Shakespeare LLC, which led to Doris Moore having access to the company's funds. When Abraham Shakespeare disappeared in April 2009, his family hoped he was on a beach somewhere warm. In fact, Shakespeare was 9 feet underground, beneath a concrete slab outside the house Doris Moore bought for her boyfriend and put in his name. Desperate to hide her tracks and to make the family believe Abraham Shakespeare was still alive, she used his phone to stay in contact. She also attempted to hire people to move the body, and paid money to his relatives to lie during their police interviews.
What the fuck?
To say that they had seen him recently. But the more she was questioned, the more her story changed. She was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Bob Erb from British Columbia won $25 million from the lottery.
Dude, do you guys feel better now being neats? Huh? Do you feel better? Yes? At least you know your friends that you have right now are not using you whatsoever.
Unlike the other lottery winners we're going over today, his story is much brighter. Bob Erb initially invested $1 million to the legalization of marijuana, calling it Herb for Herb. It caused political controversy, but Bob Erb didn't care, stating he smoked 15 joints a day since the 1970s. Erb has also donated around $7 to $8 million for shelters, groups, and causes. One of the most heartfelt stories was a simple act of kindness while on vacation. Before winning the lottery, Bob Erb was known as a generous man who would help anyone in need. Prior to winning the lottery, Erb and his wife had a son who passed away due to cancer. After winning the lottery while traveling, Bob Erb met a man who owned a restaurant named Cliff Luther. While they were there, the owner expressed how his daughter, who also lived in British Columbia, was recently diagnosed with the same disease. On the way back from their travels, Bob Erb returned with a check for the owner of $10,000. Bob Erb is an example that not all lottery winners are cursed.
I saw that on Livestream Fails.
I want this money to last. For me, for my future wife, for my daughter, and future generations, said David Lee Edwards when he won $27 million from the lottery. Little did he realize these words would haunt him, as it only took him 5 years to spend his winnings. Edwards bought a $1.6 million home, and then another home for $600,000 nearby. He purchased a Lear jet, 3 losing racehorses, a fiber optic company, and a limo business for almost another $7 million. Edwards would buy himself jewelry pieces for for over $200,000, TVs, vacations, and even a Hummer golf cart for his daughter.
Dude, I'm telling you, if I had all that money, if I had $20 million, I would not do this shit. I just don't think I have any care for nice jewelry. Do I? Is it like subconsciously? Maybe I do, and I don't realize it. But if I had all these monies, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't buy a Hummer cart or any of that shit. I would just go to Chipotle every day and I get maybe double chicken. That's probably what I would do.
To drive around the community, since she didn't have a license yet. It didn't take long for Edwards to develop a drug problem. It was reported him and his wife contracted hepatitis from their needle drugs and had several run-ins with the police. 5 years after his big win, David Edwards had nothing to show for it. At the end of his financial fame, he was left broke in a storage container, sleeping in his own feces. A religious man from Houston, Texas found himself to be the winner of $30 million.
Sick.
His life before winning the lottery had left him exhausted from going job to job after being unable to become a preacher. Stacking shelves at Home Depot, Billy Bob Harold Jr. started playing the lottery hoping one day he would win. This lottery was his chance to turn it around for him, his wife, and their 3 sons. Once he received his first annual check, he celebrated with everyone in his family and from his church. Like most religious men, he was very generous, donating money to the church and helping those in the community. However, no matter how much he would give away, it was never enough. The consistent beggars put a strain on his marriage.
You do the same thing to me, chat. You do the same thing. I'll give $50 for a donation, and then you're like, why don't you give $1,000? You do the same shit, chat.
And a year later, they split. During a meeting with his financial advisor, Billy Bob told them that winning the lottery is the worst thing that ever happened to me. After only 2 years of receiving his lottery money, Billy Bob decided to take his own life with a shotgun to the chest. They say money doesn't buy happiness, and we can definitely agree that some of these lottery winners were very unhappy after the reality of having that much money settled in. However, not every lotto winner seems to be hit with the lottery curse. Tom Crist is another American living in California who hit big. He was at a golf course when he received the call that he just won $40 million. Instead of fantasizing about how he could spend his money, Tom Crist decided to donate the full amount to a charity to honor his late wife. He claimed he was lucky enough to financially secure himself for the rest of his life, death, and to pass on a good means to his children. He tried to remain anonymous for his winnings, but the state law required a picture of him with his check.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. If you win, you can't be anonymous, I don't think. So if you're able to be anonymous, then it's easy clap. Okay, I won all this money, and now you hide. But the fact that you have to go and be in front of the press, it's annoying.
It took him 7 months to tell his children that he had won the money.
If you ever win the lottery, chat, here's what you do. You hide. Don't tell anyone. Don't even tell your parents. You hide. You don't tell a soul that you win. You just sit there and you give subs to my offline chat and you never leave again.
Of them had an issue with the donation, but wondered why it took him so long to tell them. His response was that he was unsure of how to handle the situation. Crist ended up retiring years later as the president and CEO of an electrical products and services wholesale company for what was reported $1.14 billion. After all, he did say he was financially secure enough already in order to donate the lottery winnings.
Holy fuck!
Already worth $17 million.
Miz, Ewok, you ready?
55-year-old Andrew Whittaker won a $315 million jackpot in 2002. At this time, it was the largest amount ever won on a single ticket. Since he knew how to handle his wealth, Whittaker donated $14 million to his Jack Whittaker Foundation. He also spent almost $300,000 on a house, car, and $50,000 cash to the woman who sold him the ticket. Some say Andrew Whittaker used the last of his luck when he won that jackpot. Whittaker had his car broken into a couple of times with cash stolen. The first time, the robbers got away with $545,000 outside of a strip club Whittaker frequented. The second time, the $200,000.
Whoa. I'm confused. So, how did they get $545,000 at a strip club? What was he doing there? With $540,000? Was he doing like a 24-hour stream at a strip club? I don't understand. And who the hell keeps more than $1 in change in their car?
Dollars that was stolen was eventually recovered. In 2007, Whittaker also proclaimed that thieves had emptied his bank accounts, leaving him broke. During this time, he also had a string of personal tragedies occur. His granddaughter's boyfriend was found dead from an overdose, followed by his granddaughter 3 months later from an overdose as well. In 2009, his daughter also passed away. At the time of her death, Whittaker sobbed to reporters saying, "I wish I'd torn that ticket up." For this lucky lottery winner, his big win turned into an even bigger loss.
Fuck. And then the video just ends. Not a single happy soul. What? Oh no, a Dextro article. Mizkif finds insane 3K spray down in CSGO, but it was far from perfect. Please tell me I didn't shoot a girl. Matthew Mizkif Renato showed off his incredible spray control for a CSGO competitive match with a quick spray round. I wouldn't really call it competitive, but the 3 kills he got just weren't what he bargained for. Knuckling down your spray patterns is one of the biggest learning curves in Counter-Strike. Dude, I should have worked for IGN. Can you guys hear the voice in me that I should have worked for IGN? Mizkif looked like he has been brushing up his skills recently. That's a cap.